why did we choose open networking, right? Besides some of the things that we've already discussed with the openness and all of that. So when we went through this process of the open market tendering process, we came up with a bunch of requirements, and we evaluated all the responses based on that, right? So we had about 60 racks of compute storage in this co-location facility that needed networking. We had internally seen some of the guys within our team had already researched about what the latest improvements in the data center networking design is. So instead of doing the core distribution access, you're doing the spine leaf, because you can get specific predictable latency. The traffic path is all the stuff that Michael already described with the spine leaf. So we had already made that decision. Whenever we went to the new way of doing things, we wanted spine leaf architecture. We had realized that we would need an underlay and overlay type scenario, because we needed the servers to move from on-premise to this co-location, and you couldn't change, no IP address change, no VLAN change, no firewall security policy change. It should just look exactly the same, right? So we needed something that can enable the migration, but also be modern and fix some of the issues with it. So it was a bit of a tug of war. And also, as a philosophy within our team, we had this no vendor lock-in, no proprietary solution type scenario, because we were confident of our capability to sort of support this new network, and obviously with the help of with Cumulus, especially, been able to do that. So as a philosophy, we said we don't want any proprietary thing which locks us down for the future. And this was our opportunity to go, open, for example. Native support for automation, that was a big one. That was anything that we wanted to do with the new network, we wanted the solution to sort of support automation from the get-go. Like we didn't want a solution that had automation sort of tacked on top to the side, and it wasn't sort of working. It was working semi, it wasn't working all the time. That sort of type of situation we didn't want. So we wanted exactly. So we wanted something that supported automation natively, right? Also, so as I mentioned, we had very minimal amount of time. We had, I think, less than 6 months or 4 months, to be precise, to move everything in the data center. We're talking 60 racks or more. Like we're going from 80 racks or something to 60 racks in the co-location. We had very tight time frames. We had constraints around you can't shut down this system at this point of time. Blah blah blah. All of that. So with that time frame, we wanted some solution that can be deployed very fast. You can stand up a Cumulus data center network quite easily. Steve already mentioned about how long it took for the consultant professional services to do it. It was like 2-3 weeks, and it was exactly that. It was that was the requirement that we had. Like we wanted the time frame. Whatever solution we come up with, it shouldn't. It should sit with the time frames. We also wanted something that can be validated and tested beforehand, rather than afterwards. So we wanted some solution that we can see, at least in software, at least in a virtualized environment, that okay, you can deliver this. This is achievable. You can move the servers, whatever. This migration is going to work. So we needed that confidence. So again, Cumulus Mellanox were able to do that. They essentially ran the whole environment, I think, on a laptop, on Scott's laptop. Yeah, on a server, I think. And pretty much, like it was like we're talking 60 odd or more switches, and with exactly the config that we're going to put in, all the BGP config, all the VXLAN, EVP, and all the crazy stuff, everything on a network in a virtual environment, and we were able to see that. Oh, okay. So when the time comes, you just take that config and provision it on a physical switch. It doesn't matter if it's a physical or virtual. It's the same situation, right? So for us, that was a big requirement, because we had to see and feel confident that the solution will work before we actually, put it in. Best of breed hardware and software. So we talked about some of the things with the Mellanox, low latency, no loss, true wire speed, all of the shebang. That was part of our requirements as well. So when we evaluated all the other hardware vendors that came in, obviously Mellanox stood out. High bandwidth, low latency switches, again the same. I'm talking about 100 gig switches in a corporate data center. We're nowhere near hitting any of that bandwidth. But remember, this was our opportunity to fix some of the things, and we're not going to get one, I'm pretty sure, for at least 5 to 10 years, right? Depending on how the management, sees it. But essentially, this was we didn't want to go like 25 gig. We didn't want to go 40 gig interfaces or whatever. We had the opportunity. Let's go full retard. Yeah, 100 gig everywhere, 100 gig spine leaf infrastructure. And then that way, we have, safeguarding our future. So as mentioned, the preferred option came out to be Cumulus, Mellanox, BIOS IT, and again, some of the requirements were not fully developed initially. So we were confident with the plan that these guys came up with in terms of the project implementation. And we were initially surprised. 2 weeks, really? Can you actually do that in 2 weeks? We're talking 60 racks or whatever, 100 switches. Can you actually do that in 2 weeks and provision all of it and test it and validate? And so, yeah, lucky it worked out.
There's no luck.
There's no luck if it's planned properly, right?